Let us take the steps necessary to truly understand individuals with autism. Life is often not what it seems.
I just find just living life just to be as hard as, taking a test.
The biggest challenge for us is just understanding often by the population, understanding by the community, and kind of learning about us, learning that, say, how we behave kind of at times may not necessarily communicate, how we're thinking and how we're interacting with the world, and how hard it is for us to fit in.
Basically, my whole life's a roller coaster. There's ups and downs, and for me, it's just really hard for me just to, find a basic structure in my day and how I can apply that.
But the fact of the matter is, like the rest of us, people with autism grow up. They grow up to be teenagers, and they grow up to be adults, and eventually a whole cohort that we now know today are going to grow up to be senior citizens. And I think that's going to present us with a whole new set of challenges about how to best support people with autism spectrum disorders. But in some ways, it's also a good challenge because it forces us to look at them really as people first, and not just as people with this particular disability label. So what does John Jones need as he grows up? And what does, Susie Bevins need when she grows up? As opposed to what do adults with autism need?
And I do think funny things, like walk out of my shoe and do funny things. So I guess some people take to me that way and like to be around me because of that. And because I'm different. Yet some other people, I don't want to say names and stuff, in bowling too much, will punch me in the back once and stuff and yells at me and tells me off for no reason at all. Because I'm different, because then they can say stuff to me, I won't say things back.
If I wasn't in Ken's life and wasn't providing the services that I am providing to him, he would pretty much be depending on just about anybody who comes in contact with him. He wouldn't be able to go to the grocery store to get his own food without people looking at him as if he's an alien. He would have a hard time coping with different situations. There wouldn't be people there that he could depend on to do things and be there for him and listen to him and help him out, basically being his advocate, because he doesn't know how to express himself like other people can.
Many adults with autism are capable and want to work. If given a real chance, many will prove they are efficient, reliable, and invaluable employees.
Well, the reason that you would want to employ someone on the spectrum, there are a lot of benefits. The biggest benefits is that they are very productive individuals. They learn a job, they will complete the job and see it through completion.
Sunoco A+, Dairy Mart, Butcher Shop, Baked Bread Store, Frank's Deli.
Life skills will get you through your life better than academics will. You can have all the academics in the world, but unless you can then utilize them in a functional way, you can get to a job, you can work as part of a team, you can dress yourself, you can shower yourself, you can do all this other stuff. Being able to factor a binomial equation really isn't going to help you.
Here's what's really important, and I think a lot of people need to understand this. Until Brian came to work for Cleveland Printing Company, everyone in the plant that knew about it had this stunned mullet look on their face like, what are we getting ourselves into? Now that Brian's been working for us, almost immediately when Brian came to work for us, we all realized that, we all jumped the gun.
If I give him one task and I show him one time, he'll do it over and over the same way, perfectly every time.
Well, it's, you just have to stand there, make sure it doesn't jam up on you, paper flies around stuff like that, and making sure it's all coming out exactly how it's supposed to, which is perfect.
Well, I knew he was a little different. That's probably the best way to describe Kenny. I do know that some people, when they meet him and talk to him, think he's stupid, but he's far from that. And I tell everybody that. I said he's very smart. He knows a lot more than he likes you to think he knows. And in fact, he'll act dumb at times, mostly for attention, mostly for a reaction. Those are the two things I would say about Kenny are primary in his life. You know, he loves to see people's reactions to the crazy things that he does, and he's always looking for some type of attention.
When I order supplies, we might have, say, 40 to 50 boxes of supplies that actually come in, office supplies. Kenny will go and take all of those and put them into their spots where they belong. He doesn't even have to keep track by looking at the invoice. He will go and empty all those boxes, come back out, and he knows if something's missing or not.
Many people with autism are very interested in engaging with the world around them. They just have to do it on their terms. And so it's our job to figure out what those terms are, and then also to teach the world around them. You know, if we look at people with physical disabilities, you know, we don't say to someone who uses a wheelchair, well, we'll hire you once you learn to walk. We say, you know, yeah, we'll hire you and we'll give you a higher desk and we'll make sure that you have a handicapped parking space and we'll make sure that there's a curb cut in front of the building so that you can get in, you know. But then we look to people who have neurological disorders, including autism, and we say, well, maybe he's hireable if he could talk, or maybe he's hireable if he didn't rock so much, or maybe he's hireable if he didn't ask so many questions. It's a bit of a double standard, if you ask me. I think we need to start looking at this issue of how do we best accommodate people as they are, as opposed to continually setting a new bar for them to jump over in order to be accepted as an employee, a colleague, a friend, a neighbor, or so on.
Okay, so we're going through yogurt today. Perfect. Let's come on up and take a look. I'm gonna walk the freezers after you take this up to take a look at the dates in the pizza. Everybody has their quirks. Andrew is definitely a little bit quirky. I would just say the biggest thing that he is a perfectionist, and that is definitely appreciated by us.
I go into places like Target or I go into other businesses, and basically once I have a full understanding of the person I'm job developing for, I then approach the company trying to see if there is a good fit for that individual at that company. You have to have a really good understanding of the person's capabilities and a good understanding of what the job entails to know if that job would suit the individual. There are challenges. The biggest challenge is getting a company to open their doors, open their eyes, get to see that people that have disabilities have capabilities. That's, I guess, my biggest challenge. I guess if I had to say one thing to them, I would say they should keep an open mind. The people that I bring them want to work. These people will not miss days. They are not going to be late because it's really important to them to be on time. These are things that matter to them. Working and having a reason to be. It is so huge to them that you have a better employee than you might even imagine.
As an employer, you have to be patient because particularly with a person with autism, you know, it ranges from here to here and you don't know what you have until you experience it. I know that him coming out of that non-communicative shell that he was in, you know, let's say 2 years ago now. I know there's a degree of success there. What I would like to see for Dave, and this is just me, and you know, I'd like to be able to see him be gainfully employed and productive like I would anyone else. Is that going to be Dave's eventuality? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm willing to invest the time, money, and energy in doing everything we can to give him that opportunity.
Very often, meaningful achievements for persons with autism are realized because of the perseverance and willing sacrifices of family members and support staff.